Flying Brian, what are the crap areas in the Cincinnati area? Your dad was from Cincinnati, played for the Bengals. You live in that area. Let me guess. Are you in the Newport area yourself?
I am in the Erlanger kind of Edgewood area. Yeah.
I used to listen to the WLW sports shows, and there used to be a very famous guest that called in, and his name was Kenny from Erlanger.
Yeah, that's funny.
Did you ever listen to any of those shows?
No, I didn't. But I've done an interview with WLW before.
Oh, yeah?
700, yeah.
The big
I
one.
did one with that. What's the guy that hosted now? What's his name?
Well, there's Gary Burbank. God, I haven't listened to him in many years. But back in my days, there was Gary Burbank, and there was the guy that's got his own talk show now, Cunningham.
Yeah, Cunningham.
Yeah, Cunningham.
So I did an interview with Cunningham. He's a funny guy. He's pretty cool.
I've done one show with Cunningham, and I've did a couple with Gary Burbank, and I did not get to do any with Bob Trumpy. I would have loved to have done them with him. Do me a favor, Brian. My guests have been so thrilled to see you tonight, and we're only getting you from the nose up. If we could get that camera to tilt down some, I know you probably don't have a monitor over there.
Oh, you know what?
It's not often that I have guests on the show that are as gorgeous as I am. So being as we have one of those tonight.
How does it look now?
You look great now. Perfect.
Okay. But I want to be able to see.
Yeah, you don't look like a 58-year-old man. You must be substantially younger. And you know what, fans? I think that is how me and Brian have gotten to be friends on Twitter, is that I noticed that he liked a couple of my Trump insults that I do about 151 times a day. And I noticed that Brian liked a couple of them. So that told me immediately he was a good person in my view. And then I had to look up and make sure he was real, because I didn't, pardon me, but I did not know if Brian Pillman Jr. was a real deal or not. So I looked up and I said, well, a lot of my verified people follow you. So that told me that you were the real deal.
Yeah.
And then I asked you to be on the show, and then the fans went nuts. I mean, you're apparently a pretty big deal around here, and a lot of fans.
People know me. People know me. What can I say?
I've been out of wrestling for about 7 years, and I very rarely see any independent shows. And if they don't show up on my speed search on Raw and SmackDown, I just don't see much of them anymore.
Yeah.
How long have you been wrestling now?
I had my first match on December 31st.
Get out of here. Just that recently, huh?
Mm-hmm.
How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
25.
Bless your heart. My first pro match, managing primarily, I was 27. So I started a little late in the game myself.
Okay.
So many these days want to get in at 18, 19, 20 years old. But the best thing for me was getting in late. And I had every connection in the world. I had Jerry Lawler, Jim Cornette, everybody affiliated with them, and I still couldn't get in. It was a hard business to get in back then.
Oh, yeah, you had to break into the business.
But your name alone should at least crack a door or two for you, I would think. You care to comment on that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very lucky to be in the position I'm in, and to also look the way I do.
You look a lot like your dad.
Have the genetics that I have, and then the ability that I have.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing some of your matches. I haven't seen them yet, but your dad was an entertaining SOB, man. I don't know how good your memories are of those days.
Oh. One of a kind, yeah, one of a kind.
Steve Austin's a friend of mine, and I know he loved your dad with a passion. And they put on some great television. I'm sure you've probably seen those on some highlight reels from time to time.
Oh yeah.
So who were you training under, and how long were you training before you had your first match?
So I actually trained under Lance Storm. So I also trained in Calgary, Alberta, under Lance Storm Academy.
Yeah, Lance is an old buddy of mine.
Huh?
Lance is an old buddy of mine. We tweet back and forth quite a bit. He likes.
He's a great guy, and
yes,
he's very outspoken about what he believes in and stuff. So. He's really smart, and taught me a very safe way to wrestle and how to get over and what I should expect from the business as far as with my situation,
Well, that's the way to do it. Be smart. Try to get 20 good years out of the business if you can, and not be a cripple when you're done. Yeah. And I'm sure Lance can guide you the way to do that. Lance, I don't see him rolling around in a wheelchair, and he's been around quite some time himself. And I think highly of Lance. We give each other a lot of grief on Twitter quite a bit, but He was down here and helped out with OVW some back in the day.
Yeah.
And just a hell of a guy, man. He really is. He's a good guy. My son loves him to death.
One of the things that I heard recently, because I know you were at StarCast and All In, and that whole time I was up there too, and I heard Eric Bischoff give a testimony that you were like caring more about getting involved backstage and looking at the production side of things. And I thought that was really cool to hear that you didn't want to just be there just to be there. You actually wanted to get involved and see other side of the wrestling that most wrestlers don't really care about. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, I'm always thinking about the business side of things. As you all may or may not know, I have a degree in business marketing and information systems, so I'm pretty versed as far as the impacts that social media has on the business and how we can generate revenue and draw and promotion and stuff. So I'm always looking into the back end of things. That's the most important part of the business, as well as production value and getting the best people on those roles as well. So I'm always talking to the guys, the brains behind the operation. I'm always asking them for advice on different ideas of mine as well. So just always learning. There's no limit to what you can learn. It's not so easy to go to a convention and pick up, in-ring advice. They don't just let you roll around at the fucking convention. So if you can meet a guy at some place like that who's, whether it's Bruce Pritchard or Eric Bischoff, like you said, or someone like that, where you can just kind of pick their brain a little bit. Jim Cornette, for example, I'm lucky I get to be booked on some shows with him, but had I not been booked on shows with him, I might only run into him at a con or something. So, it's always a lot of fun.
I am so sorry. I'll do everything I can to correct all the damage Jim Cornette may have done to you.
No, he's great. Love Jim. You gotta love him.
Jimmy's been my best friend for 42 years. We've had a bit of a falling out in recent years because he didn't like me working, doing shows with Vince Russo. But hey, I like Russo and I like Jimmy, and I don't like being told to pick my friends, and that's kind of what Jimmy did to me. So we're back to speaking again. Nowhere near like we were for the first 42 years. Hell, we talked every day for 42 years. And matter of fact, there's nothing that Jimmy loved more than getting into the car, going up to Cincinnati. And whenever your dad was doing a show up there and going to see your dad, we did that many a times.